in the world had asked us, why did you do it? The only reason is this, that the entire world understood that this was a very, very calibrated response against a particular country which has been perpetrating terrorism again and again. Unless we give this response to them, they possibly will continue to do this. Again, will it happen? Maybe it will happen. But again, did they learn a lesson from this, from what we did? Yes, they would have definitely learned a lesson. But they will be bragging around because right from 1948, every time they lost a war, they have always been saying that we have won. Be happy, there is no problem. Correct? But we have been very, very clear in the fact that we will always have a calibrated response. We will escalate to the extent that is necessary. Where we found that our objectives are met, then thereafter we will not escalate it any further. This has been our outlook as regards Operation SINDOOR is concerned. And Prime Minister has made it very, very clear that Operation SINDOOR is not over. That means we have given a pause button. So if you act again, and there has been a small change in our security policy, national security policy, we made a small change where we said any act of terror will be considered an act of war. That means even if there is any kind of act in future, we don't have to wait for them, anybody in the country, anybody in the world to say that you should not wage war. We said, we have declared it, that any act of terror will be considered an act of war against India, so we will respond appropriately. Certain things that has happened for the first time, which the Air Marshal also will talk about, is we got the best. India, all over the world, air defense, India is number one. This is a issue. As you all understand, maybe some medical students, others are there. What is air defense? Enemy country, whether it is launching missiles, rockets, or airplanes, when they are coming, we should attack any of our installations, civilian or military. This time it was said that one missile was launched over Delhi, one missile was launched over Amritsar Golden Temple. We have been able to counter both of them effectively. Now, air defense. The beauty of this air defense this time what was proven is the entire air defense what we used indigenous manufactured by that is the best part. There are a lot of people which were actually discarded. Switzerland. But we took those weapons, we recalibrated them, used very, very cheap for us. It would have cost us some rupees. Like that, we did a lot of indigenization. Like that, we created a lot of weapon systems which are indigenous to us. And so that, tomorrow if there is a war, there is no supply chain problem. We can keep producing as many as we want with our own factories. அப்படின்ற அவுட்லுக்கில் தான் இந்தியா போயிட்டு இருக்கு. BrahMos என்ற the missile, after 10th of May, that is the day on which we attacked them, 10th May அப்புறம் at least 22 countries have approached India to provide BrahMos missiles for them. So our exports in defense is going to go only up and up from here because it is real-time testing, simulation. A lot of them, even in China or any country for that matter, when they make a weapon, they can only test it in simulated condition because they can't go and bomb anybody, correct? We had the golden opportunity to test our air defense, to test our missiles in a real-time scenario and to show to the world that it works, right? The place, Kerana Hills, the Kerana Hills we have stuck. I'm sorry, I'm taking a little bit more time because he's going to take 45 minutes, but since you have come to listen, I thought to share my views also, which will be of some interest to you. The Kerana Hills hit and the hit so far no other country in the world has dared to do this. That is touch another nuclear installation because we are uncertain what will happen. It could lead to a nuclear reaction, it could lead to some radiation, we don't know what will happen. But we did a very, very calibrated approach there also. We didn't go and bomb that place, we only went and bombed the entry of that place, just to show them that we know where it is kept. Actually, Pakistan and India have got an agreement where they are supposed to exchange notes on where these nuclear installations are kept. Pakistan, for the best reasons known to them, have not declared that place Kirana Hills to us. So they thought that we don't know. Whereas our intelligence was so good, we know that it is kept there. So we went and hit them just to show that we know we have it kept there. So when somebody asked that DGMO, Air Marshal Bharti that day, that we came to know that heat installation, very, very comically he said, oh, is that so? We didn't know. So actually, our intelligence has been so good, that has also been proved this time. And as I told you, the heating of a nuclear installation was tried before, we did it for the first time. Indigenously, whatever we manufactured, we tried and tested, and it has been found to be effective once again. Whatever the missile system, whatever the air defense system that Pakistan had procured, air defense, now I explained to you, anything that comes through air to bomb any of our cities or military installations here, we should be able to counter them. That is what the air defense. The air defense system that Pakistan had, which was procured from China, was utterly failure. When we attacked Kairana Hills, we came to know that their actually air defense systems were given by. So we proved that the air defense system which Pakistan had both from USA and China, we could beat both of them. So our counter air defense measures have been very, very successful, and they are all indigenous. That is the best part. Akash Tir developed 25 years. Dr. Prahlad Rao. He is retired and settled now in Hyderabad. When this operation took place, he is already retired and settled home because he only tested, he put certain things in place, he doesn't know whether it will work or not. But when this Operation Sindoor took place, everywhere there was talk about Akash Tir because that is the best air defense so far we had. In fact, the entire world were amazed. How did Indians produce this kind of a air defense system for their country? So I believe when he was sitting and watching TV, his wife and what missile? The one who produced the BrahMos missile, he came and spoke during the Operation Sindoor. And he came and told us the story how the BrahMos started developing when Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was there. How it was envisioned that there is going to be, we need to have a weapon like that, a missile like that, which can give answer to any nuclear weapon of the country, any nuclear weapon from Pakistan or from US or anywhere in the world. And what we saw, a WhatsApp joke, WhatsApp joke that is actually narrated by him. Our WhatsApp joke, he is also Dr. Pillai. He belongs to Tamil Nadu. He is the one who produced this BrahMos missile, which the whole world is talking about. He said when this missile was being developed, there was a defense exhibition in Dubai. So these people went there as a part of DRDO. They were demonstrating this weapon. They displayed this weapon, not demonstrating, displayed this weapon there. When the weapon was displayed, a lot of people came from different countries and they were all asking about it. One gentleman who came from, who were wearing a suit, they didn't know which country he came from. Two of them came, they asked everything about this missile and he kept explaining. In the missile, or the feature, explain. Then finally, I believe he asked, this is the best missile that I have ever come across and seen. Why is India wanting to sell this missile to other countries? So he said, sir, if I don't sell the best, who will buy? If I have to sell, I have to sell what I have the best. But then he told that there are some countries which are inimical to you. He said, we will not sell it to them. Then he said, I am from Pakistan defense establishment. If we give the money that you want, will you sell this missile to Pakistan? So the joke is that he went around and said, for you, the delivery is free, sir. So that is the thing I believe he told, which is also written in his book. And I think we are very happy. We are indeed very, very delighted to have him here. So let Air Marshal Matheswaran and Mr. Tagu Valliyappa. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the delay, but I think we had a great interaction until they came. So let's begin the proceedings officially, formally now. Let's welcome, I formally welcome all the members of MMA, the guests of MMA, particularly the guests from the Indian Chamber of Commerce who are the event partners today, and also from the Salem Council and bodies who are here. I welcome the guests on the stage, Dr. Sashikumar Devraj, the co-chairman, and the Soundarajan, who is the co-chairman, Dr. P.K. Anjani, who is the co-chairman MMA, and we have Mr. Thagu Valliyappa, who is the chairman of MMA Salem. And of course, we have Air Marshal Matheswaran, who is the guest of the day and listening to whom you are all here. May I now request Dr. Sashikumar to give the formal welcome address, please.
Hello. Dignitaries on the dais, dear friends and people from Chamber of Commerce and Salem Productivity Council, students. Gives me immense pleasure to be here to give the welcome address, and especially a topic which is very close to my heart, Operation SINDOOR, and how it was done. It was spoken very well by our Captain Venkataraman sir. From the horse's mouth in the keeping us well informed about it. We've been, a lot of views have gone by on movies which were on India Park or Netflix OTT views la pathina nariya increase aayirukku adum nariya Indians paathitu irukanga, and so we are very proud and to have us here talk about it on a very important topic, Operation SINDOOR lende what lessons we can learn in our management, day-to-day management. So under coordinated, calibrated response. வந்து பேசுறதுக்கு தான் சார் வந்திருக்காரு, Matheswaran sir. Welcome sir. So great having you here. உங்க biodata வந்து பார்த்தேன், it was very impressive. Thanks a lot for coming to Salem and enlightening us. And thank you sir, all the way from Bangalore, having come. Very busy schedule and vandadukku romba nandri sir, and the other dignitaries as well. So once again I welcome all of you, and I don't want to take too much time. Want to hear from the man machine. Thank you.
Doctor, now it's time for us to listen to the chairman's remarks. May I request Mr. Thagu Valliyappa to deliver the opening remarks, please.
Chief guest of the day, Air Marshal M Matheswaran sir. Welcome to Sona and Salem. Our own Sashikumar, co-chairman, Dr. Anjali, Dr. Mr. Soundarajan, and our own Air Marshal, Air Captain Venkatesh, Group Captain Venkataraman, sorry about it. So I think people of Salem, very unique today. I think we have probably the most diverse audience today, thanks to Operation SINDOOR. Over the years, we've seen many things, but then I think in our generation, especially people who have seen 2 to 3 wars are all here. 1971, I think a couple of wars after that in Pokhran we have seen, all of us have seen, and I think the latest being SINDOOR. I think over a period of time, it becomes a milestone. We hear about it, we speak about it, we talk about it, we joke about it, we forward it, we criticize it. But then I think it's most important to understand what is next. because I've been to DRDO a few times, been to the facility in Chennai, been to a few of the defense sectors, because personally I worked with the aerospace and defense from the Bangalore Chamber of Industries and Commerce, where we have sector skill council with the aerospace. And over the years I understood that defense is not a child's play. We also tried to work with aerospace and defense, and I think it's a very proud moment to say this. One of the longest standing relationship with ISRO and Salem is Sona College and ISRO. Having been a part of the Chandrayaan mission, so we understand how difficult after 22 years we were able to succeed with the Chandrayaan mission, and I think the time has come that we use this opportunity. I think we've spoken in many platforms, but then we are sitting in the center of the defense corridor. Salem is exactly 146 kilometers from Hosur, 146 kilometers from Coimbatore, and about 146 kilometers from You can't get this in the defense corridor. These three sectors are the defense corridor hub. And I think it's very important to note that if we don't put our foot forward and develop the Salem ecosystem, develop the Salem people, develop the Salem education, develop the Salem back end, aerospace or defense is not going to happen on its own. So I think a lot of people from various sectors have come, and I think we've been speaking, I don't want to mention names, but there are stalwarts who've been doing this for 20, 30, 40, 50 years now. So I think, sir, one of the things is, I think we spoke how people like you can bring aerospace into Salem. Because Salem is not very far from Bangalore, which is aerospace, and someone has, it's been around rumored that it is likely to go to Hyderabad. Why can't you bring it to Salem? So, not Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh. Why can't you bring it to Salem? So, I think there is a lot of scope with development, and especially MSME today is a major trust in Salem. And I think, the opportunity for us to build this ecosystem in the area of manufacturing, in the area of design, in the area of technology, all this is there in Salem already. And I think today with Dr. Air Marshal Matheswaran coming in, so it gives us the importance of promoting Salem as a defense destination. And also the fact that yesterday I was speaking to the pilot training. Can anyone guess, not at the back because a lot of pilots are at the back, can anyone guess how many pilots are there in Salem today?
Training is around 80 students.
Sorry?
Trainings in Salem Airport has 80 students, I think.
Yeah, I think, you're right. There are 75 to 80 pilots training in Salem. And 2 days ago we Googled and we didn't find so many pilots being trained in one center of Salem. This is a prestige and pride for all of us. So not many of us know this. So immediately I called up the thing and then said, no, sir, you do not know. The general manager is there. He is the person to speak to. Then I spoke to him from Delhi yesterday. I said, sir, I don't know. You please come. So thank you for coming. And he has got 25 pilots. And out of that 75 students, you will be surprised to know 50% of them are girls. So, and he's saying more and more girls are coming. And this is across the country they are coming from. I think all of them are come from North India. So I think we ourselves in Salem need to promote ourselves, tap our backs, because there's no one tapping our back. So we should start looking at tapping ourselves back before Modi comes and tap our back, like how they did with one or two people. So I think the scope of protecting Salem in the aerospace and defense is our commitment and our connect. And as a Sona, sir, we have the younger generation to be ready for aerospace. So you tell us what you want, we will train them in that. So including drone pilots, we are ready to train. Pilots also are ready to train, provided that there is a future for them. And I think it's a great occasion today, and as we have, waiting to talk to us, and I think the next half an hour or 40 minutes, I think you got some very inward, connect to the what really happened. And I think that's on the background. We all feel very sad for one second yesterday, and that's also an airline issue. So if you just on that, sir, maybe just a brief and I think that will be, on the right context. And I don't know if we should be in 1 minute silence or
We can do.
we can do. Okay. On the mark of respect, I would request all of us to stand for a minute for the 170 and give our support to the families. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thiagu, and thanks for that very, very emotive 1 minute silence. Our heart goes out to all the families who lost their dear ones. Such things do not happen in the world, not just in India. So now, may I have a request? Another very important person from Salem, Mr. Karthik Andappan, is the President of the Chamber of Commerce Industry. I request him to deliver introductory remarks, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries on the dais, especially our today's chief guest, Air Marshal M Matheswaran. Of course, a well-known person from Salem, chairman, and just given a beautiful talk. Thiaga Valiyappa sir, and MMA co-chairman, my dear friend Kumar, another co-chairman, Mr. Soundarajan, and Mr. Mayu, special invitee. I recognize the presence of our Tanzania past President K. Mariappan here, and also Salem Productivity Council President Mr. Elangovan, and office bearers of Council, the of Commerce and Industry, and faculty, and my dear students. See, I am proud to say that such an institution only can able to attract best speakers in Salem, because the credit goes to MMA. Because I was an MMA member in Chennai long back, because those times no social media, only interacting seminars or conferences or any kind of a management talk we want to listen, we have to go to MMA Salem, MMA Chennai. Such a beautiful program they used to conduct. I still remember Group Captain Vijay Kumar, now my dear friend Group Captain Venkatraman. Still they are organizing beautiful, all heads of industries and manufacturing, heads of public sector, they come and give a beautiful lecture. So today's topic, almost, no, it is a little late, but still we have a wonderful speaker today, our Air Marshal Retd. He will think the Operation SINDOOR in a different perspective, because it is real management. See, if you remember, after 26 years, that is Operation Vijay, Kargil, if I remember, this is a different operation. The entire world see Operation SINDOOR. Because our prowess in electronic coordinations, our IT has exposed. Even today, America may be a good in combat, but not this good in technology. So I can challenge our young generation are much capable, and especially Nari Shakti, our Prime Minister used to say that in our armed force, IC services, lot of young women are working and beautifully coordinating any kind of attack against our country. So with this, I will conclude my talk, and I request our Air Marshal to continue. We are ready to listen you. Much important in this Operation SINDOOR, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Karthi, and look forward to your support in Salem. Thank you. After Chennai. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. T. Soundarajan, who is the co-chairman MMA Salem chapter. I'll request him to introduce the speaker of the day, and also I welcome a special guest, Captain Mayur, who heads the PI flying school at Salem. I don't know how many of you know. There are pilots sitting behind the upcoming pilots or the would-be pilots. So, Mr. Mayur actually guides them. Thank you, Mr. today. Yeah. Let's give them a big round of applause. They are the ones who are going to take us through so many air journeys in the future. Mr. Soundarajan, please.
Good evening to dignitaries, directors on the dais. Good, all of you. Actually, formula and introduction, I want to first thanks to our Air Marshal. He's a really wonderful, such a great person. Now, the last 10 days back, Chennai it's a very, very, very nice. நான் ஃபோனில் 2-3 தடவை பேசினேன். அங்கே அவர்கிட்ட பேசிட்டு அந்த மீட்டிங் முடிஞ்ச கீழே வந்துட்டு சேலம் வந்து அவர்கிட்ட பேசினேன். சார் சேலத்தில் நீங்கள் பேசுகிற மாதிரி நீங்கள் வந்து பேசுங்க. சரி ரொம்ப ஸ்மைலாக அழகாக சௌந்தரராஜன் அப்படின்னு சொன்னார். ஸோ இன்னைக்கு வந்து அவர் சென்னையிலேருந்து இதுக்காக இந்த பக்கம் வந்திருக்காரு. அவர் அட் த சேம் டைம் அவர் ஏஜுக்கு இன்றைக்கி நம்மகிட்ட வந்து இன்றைக்கி சேலம் நம்ம சோனா ரஜன் வந்து எம்எம்ஏ மூலமாக பேசுகிறாங்கன்னா ரியலி அப்ரிஷியேட்டட். ஸோ இப்போ நம்ம சேலத்தில் ஒரு சின்னப்பம்பட்டிங்கிற ஊர் இருக்குது இல்லைங்களா? அந்த சின்னப்பம்பட்டிங்கிற ஊரில் பேர் சொன்னால் யார் ஞாபகம்? நடராஜன். ஸோ நடராஜன் பேர் நமக்கு தெரியும். ஆனால் அங்கே பிறந்து உலகத்துக்கே தெரிஞ்ச ஒரு ஏர்ஃபோர்ஸ் பர்சனாலிட்டி ஒருத்தர் இருந்திருக்காரு அப்படின்னு சொன்னால் டாக்டர் ஏர் மார்ஷல். அதே சின்னப்பம்பட்டி இருக்காரு, சென்னையில் செட்டில் இருக்காரு. இட்ஸ் ரியலி எனாமரஸ் பவர் அண்ட் எமிரட்டஸ் பர்சன். ஸோ ரியலி ஐ வாண்ட் டு இந்த இன்ட்ரடக்ஷன் பண்ணுறதுக்காக உண்மையிலேயே ஐ பெருமைப்படுறேன். ஏர் மார்ஷல் டாக்டர் எம் மாதேஸ்வரன் சார், AVSM VM விமானியாக இந்திய விமானப்படையில் 39 ஆண்டுகள் பணியாற்றிய ஒரு சிறந்த போர் விமானி அவர். விமானம் அதன் அமைப்புகள் சோதனை நிறுவனத்தில் சோதனை விமானியாகவும், தந்திரோபாயங்கள் மற்றும் வான்போர் மேம்பாட்டு நிறுவனத்தில் போர் விமானி தலைவராகவும் பணியாற்றியுள்ளார். குறிப்பிடத்தக்க கட்டளை மற்றும் பணியாளர் நியமனங்களை வகித்ததன் மூலம் பாதுகாப்பு உத்தி ஆராய்ச்சி, விண்வெளி உத்தி மேம்பாடு மற்றும் போர் தகவல் ஆகியவற்றில் விரிவான அனுபவத்தை பெற்றுள்ளார். ஒருங்கிணைந்த பாதுகாப்பு பணியாளர்களின் துணைத் தலைவராக இருந்தபோது கொள்கை திட்டங்கள் மற்றும் படை மேம்பாட்டிற்கு பொறுப்பான பதவியின் போது ஓய்வு பெற்றார். இந்திய ஜனாதிபதியால் அதிவிசேஷ்ட சேவா பதக்கம் மற்றும் வாயு சேனா பதக்கம் ஆகிய விருதுகளால் கௌரவிக்கப்பட்டார். இன்று நம்ம ஸ்டேஜில் நம்ம முன்னாடி இருக்கார். விமானிகளின் இவர் சென்னை பல்கலைக்கழகத்தில் பாதுகாப்பு மற்றும் மூலோபாய ஆய்வு முனைவர் பட்டம் பெற்றுள்ளார். நிதி மேலாண்மையில் முதுகலை டிப்ளமோ மற்றும் ஹார்வர்ட் பல்கலைக்கழகத்தின் ஜான் எஃப் கென்னடி கவர்னன்ஸ் பள்ளியில் சர்வதேச மற்றும் தேசிய பாதுகாப்பில் சீனியர் ஃபெலோஷிப் பெற்றுள்ளார். புதுதில்லியில் உள்ள தேசிய பாதுகாப்பு கல்லூரியின் முன்னாள் மாணவர் டாக்டர் ஏர் மார்ஷல் சென்னையை தளமாக கொண்ட லாப நோக்கமற்ற பாரபட்சமற்ற பொதுக்கொள்கை மற்றும் ஆராய்ச்சி சிந்தனை குழுவான தி பெனின்சுலா ஃபவுண்டேஷன் நிறுவனத்தின் தலைவராக உள்ளார். விண்வெளி மற்றும் பாதுகாப்பு தொழில்களுக்கான மூலோபாயாளராகவும் தற்போது திறமையை தொடர்ந்து நம் நாட்டுக்காக அர்ப்பணித்து செயலாற்றி வருகிறார். ஸோ நம் நாட்டின் பாதுகாப்பு நாயகனாக தற்போது நம்முடைய இருக்கும் அவரை சிறப்புரை நல்கிட அன்போடு அழைக்கின்றேன். தேங்க்யூ சார்.
A special guest, Mr. Mayur, Captain Mayur, may I request you to say words.
Good evening, everyone. This is Captain Mayur. Thanks to Sona team for inviting us. Even we are not aware of the Sona having such a great aviation background, and they have some setup called Speed, and they are providing some equipment to the ISRO. That's like quite surprising for us. And I'm from the engineering background, from the aircraft maintenance, engine overhauling, and then I flew as commercial pilot. I completed my civil course and then currently working in Equiair. So I want to brief about Equiair. We are the only flight training school right now in Tamil Nadu. And we are a new startup. We are about to complete our 2 years in next month, and almost including the serial and convergent students who do their flying in the abroad, and they come and they convert their license into Indian license, commercial license. We have almost crossed 80. So we have provided new 80 students commercial pilot licenses. So that's a quite achievement for us in a short period of time. Our recent batches, last 2 batches, has more than 50% girls candidate, which is also a very remarkable achievement of us. We respect our defense sector a lot, but being in the civil aviation, we are also giving some of our share to the aviation industry, and I'm glad to be here and represent Equiair. Thanks. Thanks.
Please, sir, please.
Hello. Hello. Yeah. So I think 2 people who are responsible for today. One Mr. Soundarajan today and Mr. Venkat, both of them, in the last one day he had spoken in one of the meetings in Chennai. He was one of the main person, and we had a great support from the MMA Chennai. So along with this, sir, I'm just giving the mic to a person who's tried to bring the airport and brought the airport. Now he's trying to bring the aerospace park in Salem. I think, so he's a veteran. So I'm just giving him the mic there itself. So, so MSME chairman, Mr. Mariappan. So we're trying to get the aerospace park in Salem somehow. So he's done a lot of work on that.
அனைவருக்கும் பணிவான மாலை வணக்கங்கள். இந்த வாய்ப்பினை கொடுத்த சோனா கல்வியினுடைய அன்புக்குரிய தியாகவடிப்பு அவர்களுக்கு நன்றி தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றேன். இன்றைக்கு சீஃப் கெஸ்டாக வந்திருக்கக்கூடியவர் அவருடைய துறையில் கேட்பவர்கள் நாம் எல்லோரும் இடையில் சில நிமிடங்கள் நான் சேலம் ஏர்போர்ட் பற்றியும் ஏரோஸ்பேஸ் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல் எஸ்டேட் உருவாக்குவது பற்றியும் விடைபெறுகின்றேன். 1988 ஆண்டு சேலத்தில் விமான நிலையம் அமைய வேண்டும் என்று அன்றைக்கு ஜனாதிபதியுடைய ஆட்சி தமிழகத்தில் நடந்து கொண்டிருந்தது. முன்னாள் முதலமைச்சர் எம்ஜிஆர் அவர் மறைந்த பிறகு சித்து என்று பெட்ரோலியம் மினிஸ்ட்ரியுடைய செக்ரட்டரி அவர்கள் கவர்மெண்ட் ஆலோசகர்களாக இருந்தார்கள். அவர்கள் சேலம் வந்து நாங்கள் அப்போ நம்முடைய தியாகவடிப்பவுடைய தாத்தா இந்த சோனா குரூப்பினுடைய அவர்களும் நானும் மற்றும் இன்னும் 2 பேர் சென்று அவர் சந்தித்து சேலத்தில் விமான நிலையம் அமைப்பதற்கு நீங்கள் ஏற்பாடு செய்ய வேண்டும் என்று வேண்டுகோள் வைத்தோம். அப்போது அவர் சொன்னார்கள், ஈரோட்டில் 350 ஏக்கர் நிலம் இலவசமாக அவர் தயாராக இருக்கின்றார்கள். நீங்கள் குறைந்த ஒரு 150 ஏக்கர் நிலத்தை இலவசமாக தந்தால் சேலத்துக்கு விமான நிலையத்தை தருகின்றோம். அதற்கு நீ ஏற்றுக்கொண்டால் நான் இருப்பேன். எனக்கு 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய் நீங்கள் ஒரு காசோலை வழங்க வேண்டும் என்று சொன்னார்கள். உடனடியாக நம்முடைய அமரர் சொக்கலிங்க செட்டி அவர்கள் அங்கிருந்து அவருடைய டிரைவரை அனுப்பி அவங்களுடைய அக்கௌண்ட் மூலமாக 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய் கொண்டு வந்து சொன்னபடியே கொடுத்தார்கள். சேலம் விமான நிலையம் அமைப்பதற்கு வித்திட்டவர்கள் சோனா கல்லூரி சாதவர்கள் என்பது உங்களுக்கு நிறைய மாணவர்களுக்கெல்லாம் தெரிந்திருக்காது. ஸோ சேலம் மாவட்டத்தினுடைய ஒவ்வொரு முன்னேற்றத்திலுமே அவர் வந்து அதாவது தியாக பாலிடெக்னிக் 1958ஆம் ஆண்டு ஜூன் மாதம் 13ஆம் தேதி முன்னாள் ஜனாதிபதி அவர்கள் வெங்கடாமன் அவர்கள் மினிஸ்டர் காமராஜருடைய தலைமையில் இருந்தபோது அவர் காலையிலே தியாக பாலிடெக்னிக் துவக்கி வைத்துவிட்டு மாலையில் சேலம் பாலிடெக்னிக்கை அவர் துவக்கி வைத்தார்கள். அதற்கு எங்களுக்கும் இந்த சோனா குரூப் கல்வி தொடர்பு இருக்கின்றது. இன்றைக்கு ஆண்டிலே மிக சிறப்பாக சேலம் விமான நிலையம் பணியாற்றுகின்றது என்று இன்றைக்கு விமான போக்குவரத்து அதிகாரிகள் தெரிவித்திருக்கின்றார்கள். இன்றைக்கு கிட்டத்தட்ட தினந்தோறும் கடந்த ஞாயிற்றுக்கிழமை சேலம் டு சென்னை 15,913 ரூபாய் கொடுத்து டிக்கெட் போகக்கூடிய அளவுக்கு இன்றைக்கு சேலம் விமான நிலையம் மிகவும் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றேன். அடுத்து
ஹலோ சார்,
டிஃபென்ஸ் கார்டு பற்றி சொன்னார்கள். டிஃபென்ஸ் தமிழகத்தில் சென்னை
டிஃபென்ஸ் பார்க் தான்
சேலத்தில் டிஃபென்ஸ் கார்டு பொறுத்தவரை தமிழகத்தில் 2019ஆம் ஆண்டு சென்னை, திருச்சி, கோயம்புத்தூர் 4 இடங்களில் தான் அனுமதி கொடுத்திருந்தார்கள். அப்போது இருந்த நம்முடைய மாவட்டத்தை சார்ந்த முன்னாள் முதலமைச்சர் அவர்களை நாங்கள் சென்று சந்தித்து சேலத்திற்கு நீங்கள் பெற்றுத்தர வேண்டும் என்று கேட்டுக்கொண்டோம். அவர்களும் உடனடியாக அப்போது டிஃபென்ஸ் அமைச்சராக இருந்த நிர்மலா சீதாராமன் நேரில் சந்தித்து சேலத்திற்கு இந்த டிஃபென்ஸ் கொண்டு வந்தார்கள். கடந்த 6 ஆண்டுகளாக அதற்கு இடத்தை பெறுவதில் நாங்கள் சில பிரச்சனை இருந்தது. கடந்த முறை இப்போது மாண்புமிகு தமிழக முதலமைச்சர் அவர்களும் சீஃப் செக்ரட்டரியாக இருந்த இருந்தவர்களும் வந்தபோது மீண்டும் ஓகே சார், அதாவது இப்போ எங்களுக்கு வந்து 1600 ஏக்கர் நிலம் சேலம் இருப்பாளத்திலே இந்த டிஃபென்ஸ் ஹப் அமைப்பதற்காக நிலம் ஒதுக்கீடு செய்வதற்கு நிறுவனம் ஒப்புக்கொண்டிருக்கின்றார்கள். அதற்கு 2000 கோடி ரூபாய் பணம் கேட்டிருக்கின்றார்கள். இன்றைக்கு தமிழக அரசு அதற்கு பதிலாக அந்த விலையை குறைத்து வாங்குவதற்கு நடவடிக்கை எடுத்து வருகின்றார்கள். அந்த நிலத்தை இருந்து இந்த டிஃபென்ஸ் கார்டுக்கு பெற்றுத் தருவதற்கு நீங்கள் உதவி செய்ய வேண்டும் என்று கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறோம். அதுதான் மிக முக்கியமான வேண்டுகோளை வைக்கிறோம்.
May I request Chairman Mr. Thakur to present a memo to the guest speaker before we move on to the proceedings. W to present a book which has been published by MMA, to present a copy to Mr. Karthik Kandappan and Mr. Mayur, Captain Mayur. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's time for the most awaited moment. I think I'll invite a colleague from the Air Force, a role model for all of us, Air Marshal M Matheswaran, AVSM, VM, Ph.D, a doctor, chairman of the Peninsula Foundation, to make his presentation on Operation SINDOOR strategy, precision, and response.
No problem. I'll use the slides much later, no problem, but good evening to everybody, ladies and gentlemen. at the outset, Mr. Tyagi Valliyappa and Group Captain Venkatraman, Mr. Soundarajan, Mr. Karthik, and Mr. Sasidharan, and other distinguished guests on the stage, and the important guests, senior guests who are here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me here. To be here, and when Mr. Soundarajan said, I readily agreed, simply because there's also a great emotional attachment. I am from Salem. I belong to Salem. Okay. My father belongs to Chinnapampatti, as he mentioned. I was not born in Chinnapampatti, I was born in my grandfather's place, which is off Taramangalam. It's a small village called Motur. And that's my maternal grandfather's place. I have not studied in Salem at all. Since my father, he studied in Taramangalam, which is Sengunda Madhya School, high school, which is a good school now, one of the oldest, more than 100 years old. And he also taught there before going into Ph.D. And then that took him all over Tamil Nadu. So early education I did in various states, and then I joined a military school from the age of 10. I wore the uniform at the age of 10, and I took it off at the age of 60 when I retired. So it's a full 50 years. Because when I finished school in 1970, we finished on December 20th, and in January 6th I was in National Defence Academy in Pune. So there was no break at all, it was a continuous process. It's been an excellent journey for me in the military, particularly considering the fact that my father was the first person to come out educated from both the families. From my mother's side, there was no school anywhere within 10 to 15 kilometers. She studied till 8th and she had to come to Taramangalam for the school, which was about 7 to 8 kilometers. And even when I used to visit on my school holidays, the nearest school was about 3 or 4 kilometers. So that was the situation. Salem had a government engineering college in which my brother did civil engineering. He joined the army later. And I was the first to move out into the military from the family. Although from my father's side, there were some people who had fought in the Second World War. Well, Salem has changed phenomenally. And therefore, when I see it today, and it's a great pleasure to see Sona in a College of Technology, and as the chairman explained everything, it's very heartening to see you all getting into engineering and design, innovation, and research and development. That's the way to go. I researched, my Ph.D. thesis was on the nature of aerospace power in the 21st century. In the 19th century, as the world was great power fighting with each other, the US was just about coming up, and there was a US admiral called Mahan who studied the history of British Empire and the other colonial powers, and he discovered that the British maritime capability or maritime power, that is the power on the seas with the ships, ability to control the choke points into the Indian Ocean particularly. Suez Canal is a choke point, Malacca Straits is a choke point, right? So if you control those, you control the ocean. And therefore he realized that the British had a massive strength in maritime power. And so he said, if a country wants to be a great power, it needs to control the seas, for which it needs to have a great navy and needs to be a big maritime power. The US implemented that. By the end of the Second World War, the old empires had gone and the US had become the foremost power. So using the same analogy, in my thesis I said, in the 21st century, country that controls or dominates air and space will be the foremost power on the earth. The US is the foremost air and space power. India is a growing air and space power. And therefore, you need to be an aerospace power to be able to have a say in the order. So, today's world is a ruthless world. There is a war that has started off between Israel and Iran this morning. Those of you who have difficulty in understanding and you want me to convert some of this in Tamil, raise your hand and then I will explain that in Tamil as well. புரியுதா நான் சொல்றது? புரியுதா? ஓகே. நம்ம உலகம் வந்துட்டு ஒரு highly competitive. ஒரு கண்ட்ரி இன்னொரு கண்ட்ரிக்கும் பார்ட்னர்ஷிப்னு சொல்லலாம், பெரிய ட்ரேட் இருக்குன்னு சொல்லலாம். ஆனா நோ, எந்த கண்ட்ரியுமே அதனுடைய செல்ஃபிஷ் இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் தான் பார்க்கும். The US, United States, is the foremost selfish nation on earth. You have to be that way. ஆனா அதே சமயத்துல அது கிரேட் பவரா வர்றதுக்கு என்ன இருக்கு? அதுக்கு US military, great space, air and space power. எதனால அது கிரேட் பவர்னு சொல்றோம்? The strength lies in its education. The strength lies in its industry. The strength lies in its research and development. The strength lies in its innovation. It is still the foremost innovation power. இப்ப ஏன் சைனாவுக்கு வந்து அவ்வளவு பயப்படுறாங்கன்னா, China has grown as a great innovation power. It is already a great aerospace power. அதனால the US is threatened by China. அதனால இந்த problems, the trade, tariff, எல்லாமே அதனால தான் அந்த problems வருது. We have to, you all have to understand that. The military is there to provide security, but the industry, manufacturing, research, and including the civil aviation, they all contribute to the overall airspace strength. Indian civil aviation is the fastest growing civil aviation sector. Year on year, I think you are growing more than 30% year on year, right? So the opportunity is huge. At the same time, when I saw the lab in the evening, on the research and development side, the dean was explaining. So you use various software tools, CATIA, correct? And there are more modern tools for design that you are using, correct? So is that good enough for your design? அது போதுமா? அந்த tools எப்படி develop ஆயிருக்கு? So those tools are developed on research and development of more than 100 years, 150 years of database, of which these tools are based on. So அந்த tools நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணும்போது உங்க டிசைன் கரெக்டா வரும். ஆனா நீங்களே ஒரிஜினல் டிசைன்ஸ் கொண்டு வரணும்னா you have to understand where that database comes from. அந்த டேட்டாபேஸ்ல வந்துட்டு டீல் பண்ணணும். அந்த டேட்டாபேஸ்க்கு அக்சஸ் கொடுக்க மாட்டான். இதுதான் சொல்யூஷன். இந்த டூல்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ண உனக்கு ஆன்சர் விட கிடைக்கும். So you also have to think of those. காவேரி என்ஜின் கேள்விப்பட்டிருப்பீங்க இல்லையா? So காவேரி என்ஜின், aero engine design, development and manufacture is the most complex technology challenge for any country. If that can be mastered, that country is crossed into the great powers ranks. So காவேரி என்ஜின் 30 வருஷமா நம்ம டிசைன் சேலஞ்ச் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். அதை ஸ்டடி பண்ணோம்னா சில கேப்ஸ் இருக்கு. டைனமிக் சைக்கிள் ஆப்டிமைசேஷன், அந்த டீமோட அந்த ரஷ்யன் டிசைனர்ஸ் போய் பேசும்போது the designer says that you can go as per the book and use the tools, but finally the thermodynamic cycle optimization comes from experience, from database development. So failures are important stepping stones to success. That's what it means. But at the same time, you have to build a database. So in the 30 years, you've now built a database, but still the challenge is huge. And the challenge I understand pannano. So people, students like you also understand. Many of you will go into quick manufacturing, industrialization, entrepreneurship and development jobs. But some of you will have to go into understanding by the design logic and try and break through into developing our own tools. That's what China has done. Okay? So when internet was being, not internet, when Google and other internet services were being brought to China first, what did China do? You need the routers. Cisco routers has become the standard. Technical standards and norms all over the world has a purpose. The link to that is domination of the world market. Business are in the link. The whole world, we also use this routers. If you are manufacturing our routers, we use the same standards as Cisco standards. But what did China do? They told Cisco you will design separate routers with different standards only for China. And therefore, the ability to break through into their system becomes that much more difficult. Right? This is the originality that you need to look at. This is the first, aspect that I just want to convey to you all. But let's come to Sindoor. What is the most important aspect of Sindoor? What you need to understand here is, can I point this here? Yeah. Okay, we've had this problem between Pakistan and India. Okay, it's a border problem, and in 48, the Pakistanis illegally invaded this part. Then we mobilized because the Maharaja of Kashmir requested us to help him out, and then signed the accession document to India. Then we moved in. By then they had actually captured all this, and then we stopped them here, and we could have come out if we had fought for another 1 year or 6 months. We were fighting for 2 years, and we stopped here because we took the case to the United Nations, and the ceasefire was proclaimed. So ever since 48, this becomes the line of control. In 65 and 71, we moved in a little bit, but treaty talks, we come back to the same line of control. In the area, in the north, line straight Siachen Glacier. Illana, in the line inga poirukkom. The triangle Siachen Glacier area. That's not control. 84 la nama poi occupy pantrom. In the white area, Pakistan ceded this area to China in 1963, after a war with China in 62. This grey portion is what is called Aksai Chen. Either China 1953 occupy பண்ணிச்சு, அவங்கள throw பண்ண பார்த்தோம், அதனால தான் the war வந்தது, 62 war, and then now we've been maintaining that line. It's called line of actual control. Okay, now in Operation SINDOOR, I told you about the geopolitics and the ruthless world order, right? So, if we don't take action and we wait for somebody else to take action on a country that uses terrorism as its ideological tool, as its state ideology, then at some point you have to take a very strong action. So, let me give you some examples. So, in 2001, Pakistan terrorists did a parliament attack. Nama parliament வந்து attack பண்ணாங்க இல்லையா? என்ன பண்ணோம்? Advani was the deputy prime minister. We mobilized, full mobilization. We were ready for a war. We could have gone to war, sorted out Pakistan. Yeah, but nuclear weapon, அப்பலாம் 98 nuclear weapon அவங்க டெஸ்ட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. So they become a nuclear weapon state. நம்மளும் nuclear weapon state. So that creates a restraint, because you cannot push beyond a certain red line. And red line cross பண்ணோம்னா சொல்லுவோம் நான் nuclear weapon யூஸ் பண்ணுவேன்ட்டு. That's a disaster for both the countries. So we stayed put. In December, we could have attacked them. They were extremely weak. In January, they did another terrorist attack in Kashmir, and again we didn't. We raised the issue with the international bodies. In July, Kalu Chakraங்கிற இடத்துல பெரிய ஒரு terrorist attack திருப்பி பண்ணாங்க. Still we did not react. So 1 year mobilize பண்ணி, it cost the country a lot. Then we moved back, we diffused. Then Vajpayee Musharraf talks போச்சு. In 2008, Bombayல 26/11 அந்த attack நடந்தது, எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியும் அது. So I was the Air Force commander in Mumbai that time, right? And we dealt with it. We should have attacked immediately, because these were militants or terrorists trained by the ISI and the Pakistani military. All evidences were available with us, and we should have attacked immediately at that point of time. Still we didn't. We maintained a very restrained posture. Then you had Uri, then you had few other attacks. So now the government said, we cannot continue this process. In the strategy, 71 we broke them up. Bangladesh separate panni, it became an independent country. So the person who hanged Bhutto, called Zia-ul Haq, who did a coup and hanged Bhutto and then he became the president. Now he devised a strategy called low intensity warfare using terrorism, and his objective was to bleed India through 1,000 cuts. Adanaல continuously இது நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு. So in 2019, when Pulwama attack took place, 40 soldiers இறந்தாங்க அதுல. So the Prime Minister Modi said, we have to now give a strong response. அதுலதான் strike. That is the first time after 71, the Air Force crossed the boundary and then attacked the insurgent terrorist infrastructure. But that was not done very well because next Pakistan responded. ஒரு country வந்துட்டு border cross பண்ணி attack பண்றோம்னா அந்த country கட்டாயம் respond பண்ணணும். ஏன்னா அதோட sovereignty affect பண்றது. So they will respond back. And therefore we had a person ending up as a prisoner of war, and then we had to stop there and then we had to recover everything. But this time was extremely well prepared. So when we say strategy, precision and calibrated response, you must understand the Pahalgam attack has taken place. You have a precedence of Balakot, so you have to give a response, very strong response. Other effective strategy other convert பண்ணணும். So for an effective strategy, your intelligence has to be extremely accurate, extremely strong. So that intelligence was done. We took 14 days. Pakistan knew very well we will attack, so there was no surprise. But it had to be done extremely accurately and effectively. So between 2019 and 2025, your Air Force had received Rafales, a lot of new weapons, long-range weapons. We had perfected BrahMos. BrahMos வந்துட்டு it's a ballistic, cruise missile. Both it can be launched from Su-30 aircraft and can be fired from surface locations as well. In a range about 600 kilometers, 400 to 600 kilometers. In speed, 3 times the speed of sound. Is there a defense against BrahMos? There is no defense as of today. Okay, but it will be an expensive weapon. You'll use it on high value targets. Then we have a weapon called crystal mace. Then we have other precision weapons. So we said we will not cross the border so that the aircraft don't come under enemy fire, and we will fire the missiles at standoff range on select targets, pinpoint accuracy. That is what we did on 7th early morning. 9 places were attacked. So when you look at this, so here is what you are seeing. The 9 places that have been attacked starts from POK and comes down to Bahawalpur here. And immediately after that, Pakistan did respond. Why did they respond? Obviously, you've gone and attacked targets inside his country, which is an attack on his sovereignty. So he's going to respond. So we were prepared for that. That's what is the most important one. While they say they shot down few aircraft, there is no proof for that, and we've not lost any pilots. So they were trying to garner international opinion on the 7th morning. We got to work on 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. And what did we do? So we waited. Escalation control is important. So when you say the calibrated response, you need to understand that very well. Nuclear weapons, if you move beyond a certain level, a full-scale war வெடிக்கலாம். Then it becomes, a catastrophic event for both the countries. So you have to control escalation. To control escalation, you will have to dominate the operations. That is extremely important. So that is what we did. When Pakistan now wanted to attack, they threw the drones, they threw some missiles on 7th night. On 8th and 9th, we attacked all these targets here, as indicated. Both the red ones are terror bases that we attacked on the 7th. The yellow ones are all the military bases. We didn't touch the military on the 7th, but when Pakistan started attacking us, We responded very well. We did not get affected very much because our air defense were extremely strong and good. I'll explain the air defense later. But we launched our drone attacks. Our autonomous radar destroying killer drones were launched, and therefore we opened out their air defense. If you noticed, Retd and the news vandirukku, Lahore air defense vandu open aichi. So we began opening out and destroying the air defense. When the air defense are destroyed பண்ணும்போது, they become extremely vulnerable, right? So then we started attacking other military sites. They then launched missiles. அவங்க Hataf 1, Hataf 2 missiles launch பண்ணிருக்காங்க. At 400 kilometers range, thinking that it will do major damage. It did attack few places, but the thing was controlled. So once they launched the missiles, then we said we have to give up decisive response. That is why we launched on 10th aircraft launched missiles. 11 of the airfields were decimated, and you also have what is known as de-arming a nuclear weapon state. So there were some that went very close to the nuclear storage area. Once that got attacked, then it gave a massive problem of insecurity for Pakistan. So somebody who said, I want a ceasefire, on 10th they came running asking for a ceasefire, immediate ceasefire to the Indian authorities. So the aircrafts that Pakistan used, Pakistan also built its air defense and aircraft capabilities quite well. Otherwise, China's support was extremely strong. So China has support given this aircraft in 2022, and they use this aircraft which is called J-10. The F-16 even the history in Israel was building an aircraft. This is originally an Israeli design. 83 when they built this aircraft, the US stopped it because it was a threat to F-16, commercial interests. And then Israel sat on it. All the money that they spent, they recovered that money by selling the design to the Chinese in 1990s. And now this is an aircraft called J-10, better than the F-16. And this with the modern systems and with a air-to-air launched missile called PL-15. So today's environment is network environment. So you have what is known as AVACS. All aircraft can digitally talk to each other. This missile has a 200 kilometers range, and once you pick up a target on your AVACS, you don't show your place because you not opened your radar. He can give you the coordinates of the target, and then you can fire the missile. And the missile can, what we call beyond visual range missile, a kill at a range of 150, 160 kilometers can take place. This is the first time in the world such a battle was actually taking place, right? This was on 7th morning. And the aircraft that Pakistan had now largely put together are primarily J-10. This is an aircraft J-17 which China and Pakistan built together. And, sorry, one second. And this is an aircraft that China and Pakistan built together. And this has come in 3 versions. This is like a Tejas, but we are still yet to produce Tejas in big numbers. The Pakistanis and Chinese have produced this in big numbers. And this is the American supplied F-16. If you now come on to their airborne early warning systems and the networking, they have 9 of these aircraft, which is from Saab, Sweden, and this is from China. It's A-50. So Pakistan geography, it's a compact geography. So these amount of aircraft and systems clear on the two compact air defense. All right, and this was an advantage. But then what did we do? We have between 2019 and 2025, these are very important precision weapons along with the Rafale aircraft that came with us. Hammer missile, Scalp missile, and this is what we used with accuracy of 1 to 3 meters accuracy on the target, right? Second is, this was an exceptional missile which we integrated, developing an airborne version, and the Su-30 launched. I told you the range is a target of 400 kilometers range. We also have the air defense missile called S-400, which achieved a kill at a range of 314 kilometers by destroying that Saab AEW aircraft of Pakistan. So this is one of the first in the world history as well. This is extremely important. So this is an accuracy, also gives you 3 to 5 meters accuracy at supersonic speeds. The speed itself will give you a kinetic energy which will be like a massive bomb. And beyond that it has a warhead. So imagine the destruction what it does. This is what was done on 10th of May on 11 airfields. Right? So BrahMos is a Indo-Russian joint venture. Much of it is indigenous. Professor Sivadan, scientist Sivadan who lives in Chennai now, is the architect of this. And many of these, like what you all are doing in many areas for ISRO, there are many of companies based in Tamil Nadu and Bangalore who indigenized much of the Russian systems with our own, an indigenous missile today. We are exporting this. There are a lot of calls are coming from different countries after this Operation SINDOOR for export requirements. Second is the IACCS. The number of about 300 to 800 drone attacks took place from Pakistan side, including missiles, and we were able to deal with it effectively. Which is again a networked air defense system. IACCS stands for Indian Air Command and Control System. Right? So this integrates missiles on the ground, integrates radars, integrates communication systems, integrates with the AVACS in the air. So it gets a complete situational picture. I was involved in this development in 2005. It's taken about 20 years, this has been perfected now. And therefore, it was like a wall for Pakistanis to penetrate this. So while we broke their air defense, this they could not bypass at all, and they got shot down most of the time here. Okay, Rafale is an excellent aircraft. This is 4.5 generation aircraft, and this was used extensively. And if you want to understand the air defense system that was used, we had a multiple layer air defense. So you had the long range S-400, you had the medium range MR-SAM, you had a short range what is called Spider, and you had short range called Akash, and close weapon system called Spider. This CAP is all aircraft that will get airborne. So they all get networked, and data exchange in a digital format is extremely intricate. And this is in real time. So once you perfect this, it becomes a foolproof air defense system virtually. And what did we do on the 11th? So while Pakistan kept giving a narrative, they didn't have evidence to show to the world. We didn't fall into the narrative. That is the most important thing about strategy and political leadership as well. So we didn't talk on 11th, we didn't do much of talking on 8th, but after we called the ceasefire, we started throwing the evidence. And now the world is looking at, asking Pakistan, where is the evidence on your claim? Nothing, they have nothing to show. And this is what we had to indicate. This is an attack on Bolari base, air base near Karachi. Look at the massive hangar, see where the missile has gone into. Right? And whatever inside would have been decimated, absolutely. Here's another same here. Here's a runway attack. This runway won't be useful for the next 48 hours. Similarly, this runway won't be useful for the next 48 hours. You know, this is the kind of damage you have. Here's a runway attack and a very important installation attack. It's clean here, and here are both the hangars. This hangar is particularly damaged here. This is in a different place. Then you have Sukur, which is another air base, very important air base. This hangar is completely decimated here. You can see this. Similarly, runway has been created, a big crater here in the runway. And the whole world can see this. What is the air base? Is again a strategically important air base. And same, a massive storage area for weapons was completely destroyed here. This is a massive crater here. The whole, it's a BrahMos attack which created a massive crater. Everything that was there in that around it was destroyed completely. Right. So this is the same picture that I had shown you earlier, that hangar attack. And what is important is there are few pictures of attack on Noor Khan base. Noor Khan base is the strategic headquarters of Pakistan military is there, nuclear command is there, and it is close to the capital, Islamabad. That Noor Khan attacked with 4 BrahMos missiles. Near Noor Khan you have what's known as the Kirana Hills. This is of course both the countries will not accept, but the missiles have hit the hills at very strategic points. So by one analyst, there is a lot of nuclear weapon storage sites are there in the Kirana Hills. The entrance and exits were damaged and closed. closed completely. Which means on the 10th, now Pakistan couldn't throw a nuclear threat at India because it wouldn't have had access to get the nuclear warheads and be able to threaten India. And that is one of the fundamental reasons why US stepped in, and then Pakistan asked for a ceasefire on the day. That's really important to understand as well. Now, why is Pakistan for 75 years or 77 years so fiercely fighting for Kashmir? Adenauer, what is important? Religion? Is it because Kashmir is most... There is no commonality in religion originally between Kashmiris and other Pakistanis. All Pakistanis are Sunnis, Kashmiris are Shias, and the Shias and Sunnis don't get together very well, right? So we need to understand that. In another matter, if the Kashmir want independence, that's a different issue. But Pakistan wants Kashmir simply because the river system, water, okay, the Indus River system originates in India and part of this China here, and then flows into Pakistan. Entire Pakistan's lifeline is the Indus River system. That is why the Indus Water Treaty of 1960 we've not touched in any of the wars until this time, right? And Pakistan is, it said it is an act of war if the Indus Water Treaty is abrogated. Tough luck, because we are the, authoritarian state, and we've given 80% of the water to Pakistan. We use only 20%. It's been a magnanimous act in the Indus Water River Treaty. But now we have said we will build our dam, we will do our hydroelectric projects, and we will now control the water. If you control the water, Pakistan's economy will take a massive hit. So there will be a major change that will come about on how we deal with Indus Water River Treaty. Right? So this is the reason. Religion is a secondary reason. The real reason for Kashmir is control of water. And water for any country is extremely important. That's a lifeline. Right. I'll stop here. And if any questions, Tamil ne kekla, English ne kekla, whatever, anyone who wants to ask a question, I'm ready to answer that. Yeah, okay, no problem.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please, let's give them a big round of applause. It's been a fabulous.
Thank you.
I know for sure that sir, konja time gudtona, hours together, he explained very much in detail, but he also understands that there is a limitation of time. So I think thank you so much, sir, for encapsulating the whole thing into about half an hour or so. That is as short as possible, I can tell you. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's have some questions to the Air Marshal. And it can be anything. Geopolitics, I can tell you, he can answer anything. Iran war to 1948 war, anything you can ask him. Anything about the weapon systems, politics, geopolitics, or anything that you want, international affairs. Please go ahead.
I will start with one question.
Please, sir.
How did the war suddenly stop? Suddenly, over 2 hours it stopped. If you can again, we don't know.
So as I explained, on the 10th on the 9th itself we actually sort of immobilized the air defense system. So once you immobilize an air defense system, then you are free to attack the targets. That's what we did on the 10th, and we decimated 11 of the air bases. That is pretty much the Pakistan Air Force is immobilized, apart from doing a lot of damage. Of course, the Nurkan air base attack and the Kirana Hills attack, of course, nobody will have an official confirmation of it, but that seems to have played a major.
Then America got involved.
Well, the US has something linked into it. I don't want to comment on that, but there are a lot going there. But the US is concerned. Okay, but let me explain that in the geopolitics terms. Pakistan, the world knows Pakistan is a terrorist state. I mean, it supports terrorist ideology, right? Even when the US was conducting its war, global war against terrorism in Afghanistan, Pakistan was, Osama bin Laden was safe housed in Pakistan till US finally came and killed him. They were also encouraging them to fight against the US soldiers. The US knew that as well. But still they want Pakistan to remain safe. Why? For the US as a hegemon of the world, they have deep interest in being dominant in this region. And if India gets too powerful, Pakistan passes completely. US wouldn't like that as well. It's not that they can stop us, we will become powerful. But that time will get extended. Let me give you an example. In 1993, ISRO had a contract with Russia, Glad Cosmos, for the cryogenic engine technology transfer. Right? When did we achieve the cryogenic engine capability? In 2016 we started, we finally mastered in 2020. But in 1993, full technology transfer was part of the contract. The US jumped in. That time Russia was extremely weak, and they told them, you are part of the MTCR. MTCR is Missile Technology Control Regime. As part of that, cryogenic engines can be used for long-range ballistic missiles, and therefore India is not a signatory, you cannot give to India. So they pressurized them, Russia withdrew, but because we have strong relations, they left quite a few cryogenic engines with us, which ISRO then did its own development, plus used this cryogenic engine in the meantime. It is not that US didn't know that we will crack the cryogenic technology, but by doing it, they pushed us by 20 years. Right? That is the way. So this is how geopolitics works. So as far as US is concerned, Pakistan, it will not sacrifice, because Pakistan is a client state that can be used against China or against Russia or against India. And therefore they will always keep it safe. We must understand that and we must be prepared for that. Yeah.
So good evening, sir. I'm Jawahar. So என்னோட கொஸ்டின் ஆக்குபைட் டெரிட்டரி ஆஃப் பாகிஸ்தான் இருக்கு இல்லைங்களா, அங்கே வந்து நோ மேன் பவர், டோட்டலி ஃப்ரோசனாக இருக்கு. இதுவும் இல்லாமல் வாட் இஸ் த நீட் அண்ட் பர்பஸ் ஆஃப் ஆக்குபைங் தட் ஏரியா, அவனுடைய மோட்டிவேஷன் இன்டென்ஷன் என்ன காரணம் சார்? அது
யாரு நம்ம சியாச்சின் சொல்றீங்களா?
இல்லை சார், நம்ம பாகிஸ்தான் பீப்புள் வந்து நம்முடைய ஏரியா, பாகிஸ்தான் ஏரியாவை
Pakistan occupied Kashmir.
Occupy. What is the motivation to occupy the area?
Well, it is just, I said right in the beginning, whole of Kashmir is India's territory.
Yes.
Full oh, it is there, sorry. Whole of Kashmir is India's territory. And they've illegally occupied territory, which is Gilgit-Baltistan and a little bit of the Pakistan territory in 1948, 1947-48. Now once they have occupied, from there they can launch more attacks, which is what they are using it for infiltration, terrorism, the complete insurgency in Kashmir since 1989. This is a conduit. It's all mountainous region. You can't, firewall completely everything. So that is the route through which they push in their Mujahideen and terrorists. They cannot push them through international boundary in Punjab and other, Rajasthan area. So that is one of the reasons. Second, from a international perspective, Kashmir இவ்வளவு எங்கிட்ட இருக்கு, இந்த பீப்புள்லாம் எங்கிட்ட இருக்கான்னு பிடிச்சி வச்சிருக்காங்க, அவங்க எங்கெல்லாம் சேரணுங்கிறாங்க. காஷ்மீர் வந்து ஆர்கியம் பண்ணி அப்புறம் வச்சுக்கிட்டு இருக்காங்க. So then that is right.
If there any pressure is there, no pressure is there.
It's a beautiful country. It's a very beautiful mountainous country.
We can take up the control of that.
Well, it is a mountainous region. It is a mountainous region. Now to fight and conquer will be a huge, massive lot of lives you have to be prepared for to fight and take on. Second, nuclear red lines will come into play. Because Pakistan is formed, ஒரு நேஷன் ஸ்டேட் ஃபார்ம் பண்றதுக்கு நிறைய ஃபண்டமெண்டல்ஸ் தேவை. You have to have a civilization, you have a culture, and you have to have people who've been a nation. Yeah. So when India got its independence in 1947, the whole of British Raj was India, and Pakistan became a seceding state. You must read one of the books, which I'll give you the name later. It's a nice, it's written by a lawyer, beautifully written. It became a seceding state, and what did Jinnah do to it? Punjabis don't see eye to eye with Sindhis. And Pakistan is largely dominated by Punjabis. Gilgit-Baltistan and POK people are different. The Baloch people are different. They are fighting for independent state. And then you have the Afghan people in the Northwest Frontier Province. So all that has been put together only on the basis of Islamic ideology. When Jinnah said Islam is a nation and Hinduism is a nation, that is a wrong logic. So the nation state is on a very weak foundation. So every time there is a threat, internal dissatisfaction, they have to throw the problem of religion and then say, here is India threatening to dismantle us, and therefore we need to survive. So that is how they've been holding them together. It's not going to last for a very long time.
Sir, good evening, sir. This is INR replacement officer from Tyagarajar Polytechnic College, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, what is the most defining moment in your career under pressure, sir? So why I am asking is, the Army Chief mentioned in Operation SINDOOR, out of 88 hours, nearly 15% of his time spent for the fake news explanation itself. So second thing is, for mostly the students is always there. So if we are asking with the தளபதி பத்தி கேட்டோம்னாலே மேக்ஸிமம் உங்களுக்கு தெரியறது இல்ல. So if the guys young professionals entering to the career, so what they has to improve with them?
No, second question.
He is the placement head of Tyagarajar Polytechnic.
Okay.
So he wants to know how to place people in defense.
Okay.
Since we are giving the awareness program using the aircraft professionals and army people and everyone, sir. But GDP is 30% dependent on Pakistan armies. So that's why they are treated like equally to the president for the army chiefs. So but in India, the chiefs are name நம்ம நிறைய பேருக்கு தெரியலையோன்ற மாதிரி ஒரு இது இருக்கு.
அது வந்து you see, nation form பண்ணது in the independence movement. The military was under British Raj, or the British rule. And if at all ஒரு military வந்து இந்த independence movementல participate பண்ணதுன்னா நேதாஜி சுபாஷ் சந்திர போஸ் Indian National Army அது வந்தது. But that does not mean the military didn't quickly adapt to the Indian independent India. We fought the Kashmir war, every war is a testimony நம்ம எப்படி பண்ணோங்கிறது. That also shows up in a culture. So after independence, there has always been, politicians have always had a kind of fear and insecurity with respect to military. So they kept the military, very isolated, praising us, but kept us completely separated from the people. We also had a mistake. Today we are reaching out to you all, correct? But 20 years back, I couldn't imagine this happening. Okay, because the government would have allowed this. So right from the beginning, you had a civilian population which was not given access to understanding the military. Rendavathu, if you look at countries like Israel or even in the US, till at the end of Vietnam War, conscription draft was mandatory. Correct? So Israel, every boy and girl after the 12th, the boy will have to serve for 3 years in the military, the girl will have to serve for 2 years.
In Singapore, no?
Even in Singapore, in Switzerland, in Sweden has brought it back.
Sir,
So
we have very good NCC. NCC is doing extremely well in Polytechnic and Sona. அவங்களுக்கு வந்து if they can get into defense, that also can be a big opportunity.
certainly we need to. A lot of students come and ask me in Chennai because in the north, because of the as British Raj moved to Delhi from Calcutta, initial part of the British Empire in India was fought and won by the Madras regiment and Sippahis from the south, in the peninsula. In 1895, one joker came and said, because he now wanted to move to Delhi and wanted to get the people from Punjab to Peshawar, they said, now there is a martial race and we should recruit from there. So a lot of recruitment for the last 70 years or last 100 years from 1895 has largely been dominated by Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, J&K, those areas. இங்க இருந்து குறைஞ்சிட்டே போயிருக்கு. ஆனா ஏர்ஃபோர்ஸ் நேவில நாங்க நிறைய இருந்தோம், அதுவும் நான் சேர்வெல்லாம் நிறைய இருந்தோம். இப்போ வந்துட்டு ரொம்ப அதுவும் கம்மியா இருக்கு. So awareness is one important thing, and second is it is changed now. Those days, those people under the British Raj, you were so it was a job. But today you understood it's a duty, correct? So people are coming in, but a culture has to be built. Culture comes through, if you tell a student, a young kid that come and serve for 2 years, and you get paid very well. When I did the first project with the Israelis for the Indian Air Force, the aircraft LL used to fly from Bombay to Delhi. It used to be, return flights used to be full of young students, young people who finish their military service. Destination is India. All of them will come to India, vanish to Himalayas. No, I'll explain that. That is also we need to understand clearly. So, the one is the culture. So you get that culture, and then you will have more people coming in. The second one is, of course, this is very important. So, this Operation SINDOOR was fought entirely by the Air Force. Right? But that does not mean the others have not played their role, because it can escalate. I spoke about escalation control. So on the LOC, the army, he was firing the artillery shells every day. There was massive amount of artillery firing from both sides, because you had to now stop him. So that you don't escalate, you don't let him cross over. There was a lot of civilian deaths in the border areas, which has not been announced but in the foreign writings, if you see, there's been plenty of civilian deaths. That was their objective. So we've actually countered that effectively. So people are holding positions. Navy was holding position threatening that if you now escalate, I will block you. From Karachi, you can't come out at all. So these are threats. And the Air Force had full freedom to attack completely. Okay, so this is the new way of war. Now look at Israel. What did they do? They've gone and decimated Iran. All the top leadership of their military leadership and the scientists have been killed. What does that indicate? For 2 years, 3 years, they've done their intelligence work. They knew which scientists were living in which building, which military leaders were living in which building, attacked. 100 targets have been attacked. What is the objective? You remove the top leadership, effective leadership, it becomes weak. So that is the purpose. But that comes from the military culture and understanding. That is extremely important. As far as my thing is concerned, important points are, the career itself is wonderful, but I've had the experience of dealing with both operations and research and development. As pilot, I've headed the Fighter Center. I've been involved in lots of projects which I mentioned, and that they have been used. The project that is with Israel, that product was used in the Kargil war and turned the tables on the Pakistan. Similarly, the IACCS, warfare, all those, we put together in the 2005.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I think that is all the time that we have. I know there are a lot of questions from the audience, even from the people on the stage. I think there are a few questions. Sir, okay.
Yes, sir. சார் ஆக்சுவலி நீங்கள் சேலம் அப்படிங்கிறதுனால எனக்கு இந்த ஒரு தாட்ஸ் வருது சார். இப்போ இங்கே ஸ்டேஜில் இருக்கவங்க மட்டும் இல்லை சார், இங்கே நிறைய பேர் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா குரோர்பதி அப்படிங்கிற பில்லியனர் அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம். அவர் பில்லர்ஸ், சேலம் பில்லர்ஸ். ஸோ நிறைய பேர் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா வரக்கூடிய ஜெனரேஷனை எல்லாமே ஐடி அப்படிங்கிற செக்டாரில் வெளியில் போயிட்டுருக்காங்க, படிச்சுட்டு வெளியே போயிட்டுருக்காங்க. இப்போ எங்கள் சாருடைய கனவு என்னென்னா, இங்கே நம்ம செக்டாரை வந்து நம்ம பிஸ்னஸ் செக்டாரை எப்படி டெவலப் பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்ற ஒரு விஷன் இருக்குது. நிறைய பேர் பயந்துட்டு இருக்காங்க. ஸோ பசங்க வெளியில் அனுப்பிச்சா பரவாயில்ல. ஸோ இப்போ சார் வந்து 4th ஜெனரேஷனாக இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஜெனரேஷன் லெவலில் வந்து பிஸ்னஸ் யாரும் பண்ணுறதுக்கு தயாராக இல்லை. இது உங்களுடைய கைட்லைன் சஜஸ்ட்.
That's important actually. நம்ம சேஞ்ச் ஆகாதுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். நிறைய பேர் வந்துட்டு ஆரம்பிக்கிறாங்க. ரெண்டாவது வந்துட்டு இப்போ யூரோப், யூஎஸ் எல்லாமே they are becoming very a bit narrow-minded because our people have done exceptionally well there. That's right. And அதனால கொஞ்சம் jealousy, கொஞ்சம் இதெல்லாம் இதில் கலந்து வருது. So you will find over a period of next 10 years, if this Trump this policy stays there for a longer time, it's a problem for the US. But people will say, let's get back. So they will start coming back. That's one. Second is, நான் முதல்ல சொன்ன மாதிரி Sona, your chairman has done wonderful work in bringing in this culture of research and development. This must spread to many colleges, many universities. If a country's education system is not very strong, then you will have challenges in your industrial culture, your manufacturing, your research and development, your control over critical technologies. That's very important. That's not going to work. So Salem is I mean, I can see everything is here now. You have the manpower, you have the HR, vibrant HR resources, the thirst for knowledge is there, and you get these processes going. And if you push the aerospace park and encourage the joint ventures to take shape and off, then I think that would be the right point. In the joint ventures, I want to say one thing. I've been interacted with a lot of industries. I've advised public sector units. I've also advised Reliance when they want to get into defense. I advise Science, which is Hyderabad based in multinational, Indian multinational, when they want to come into defense. In all of these big players, the culture of, if somebody comes out with a new idea, then they say, okay, give it to me, and then he must take over, which is wrong. The strength of a good industrial system in a country lies in its MSMEs. You have to build an ecosystem of MSMEs. New technologies and innovations happen in MSMEs, not in big corporate world, in Tatas and others. Right? So that culture needs to change. So when we did talks with, for example, for HL, I was involved in the talk for the Kaveri technology issue. So SNECMA is Safran, which is one of the world's leading engine manufacturers, design and manufacturers. So HL said we want a lot of technologies to be, transferred to us. So the president of the SNECMA clearly said, we are system integrator. I've designed and I know what all needs to come in, but many of the components are made by my MSMEs who own the patent and who own the design knowledge. So you will need to talk to them whether you want to get that technology transferred or not. That culture is extremely important. That to respect the MSMEs, respect their passion and respect their ownership of the technology, not try and take it away. It's like, you try and the golden goose to see all the eggs and you want eggs after one day, correct? That's the same culture. So we need to work on that area, that's right.
Dr. Sashi, short question.
Yeah, sir, you were saying that Indus water is very, very important for Pakistan. So that seems to be the spine of, when will that start taking that effect?
Last 2 years, Pakistan has had problems. There's kind of a drought there. Water flow has been. In any case, you see all these waters are Himalayan glaciers, fed waters. Glacier levels have been going up, right? Because of the earth warming. That is one part. And globally, and 10 rivers of Asia are from the Tibetan glaciers. All our rivers are from Tibetan glaciers. So when glaciers melt away, and if you don't do anything about earth warming, you are going to have a problem anyway. So it has an erratic nature. There was a massive flooding that took place in Pakistan 2 years back, and then now next 2 years is droughts. So they have a problem for water, drinking and for agriculture. If we now control this, Pakistan will become desert. So they will do anything. You have to just sustain. You have to have patience, and you have to make sure that the value of being good to us and being good neighbor. Only then the Indus water issue needs to be done by us. Otherwise, just hold back. That is the way.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause to Air Marshal Matheswaran for taking all the trouble of being here today. Thank you so much, sir. I know there are a lot of more questions. They are only formally closing the meeting now because of the interest of time, but he would be available for a little more time. In fact, he had to go back to Chennai today, but he chose to stay back because of he wants to interact with you all. Please feel free to interact even after this meeting. May I now request Professor Anjani to come and propose the formal vote of thanks.
Coming to end of this evening, I thank our Chairman MMA Salem Chapter and Vice Chairman Sona Institutions, Mr. Jabu Vajipa, for this pleasant evening. I thank Group Captain Dr. Raman, General Manager MMA. I thank the guest of the day, Air Marshal Matheswaran, Chennai President of the Consular Foundation, Chennai. I thank Dr. Sashikumar Devraj, Co-Chairman MMA Salem Chapter. I thank Mr. Karthi, President, the Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I thank Mr. Soundarajan, Co-Chairman MMA Salem Chapter. I thank Dr. Mario. I thank the institutional and individual members of MMA Salem chapter and other chapters. I also thank other associations, members from the industry, Captain Captain Mayur and the team of pilots who are present today. I thank the principals, heads, faculty, staff, students of Sona institutions. Thank you one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be connected with MMA. Here, meet again. Good night. Get back home safe.